Welcome back to our special Survivor 42 preview edition of Why Blank Lost. And today we're in part 2 of 3.
It's
Uh,
very exciting.
yes,
I love that. Part two
yes,
of 3.
that's right.
Yes, here
I'm
we
David
are.
Bloomberg, and you've already heard that my co host, of course, is once again joining us, Jessica Lewis.
Here I am, and welcome back, everyone. I know that we are just stretching this out. We are keeping you waiting for all of our assessments. And so now here we are talking about 6 new players for the season 42 of Survivor.
That's right. So, in case anyone just happened on this podcast and haven't heard part 1 yet, well, you should probably go do that. But if you want to be a rebel and go out of order, well, then by all means, go for it. That
Right.
going in order, not one of the rules.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
No,
No, not one of the official rules.
No,
For you, it's a
no.
rule. For you, it's a rule.
Yeah. Every time we do this podcast, you give me guff if I try to jump ahead. And now you're telling our listeners that's fine. Go ahead and skip.
Yes. What's good for the listeners
Double standard.
is not
Double
good for the
standard.
podcaster. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we know. Now we all know.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, like I said, this is the second of 3 preview podcasts. In the first one, we discussed what we expect to see in Survivor 42 in terms of advantages and the like. And we covered the Ica tribe, which provoked a lot of feelings. This second podcast will cover the changes I've made to the rules for this season, and then the Taku tribe, including what we think of each of the players, how they'll do with the rules, and who we think will do the best and worst from that tribe. The third, in a couple days, we'll cover the Vati tribe, and we'll also have our final predictions for the season.
Oh, it's curses, all right. Yeah. It's curses.
Yes. Of course, once Survivor starts, we will be here each and every week to discuss what each voted out player did right and wrong in terms of the rules we were talking about, the ones that I originally wrote after the very first Survivor season. Now, the rules themselves will potentially be updated online for Survivor 42 by the time you hear this. To check, you can find them through a link at our dedicated page at robhasawebsite.com/yxlostfeed. That's
down here,
down there. If they aren't yet, they will be soon. There's a lot going on. But in the meantime, we could still discuss the changes I've made for this season. Nothing major, just putting a fine point on a few matters.
He likes to add pages to the already 56-page document.
Is it really 56 pages, or did you make that up?
I'm making it up, but I feel like it's right in my head.
I don't think so. I think it's only like 20-some.
No.
I mean, it may have used to be. This is the cut down version.
Okay.
When I moved to the podcast,
maybe I'm remembering the longer version. No, it's so long.
Well, it depends what font. Maybe you need. Maybe you're Gen X. Maybe you need it printed out really big.
Oh, I'm sorry. How old are you, Bloomberg? Really? We're gonna go there? I'm looking it up right now.
I have glasses that take care of that for me. So anyway, to get to those changes, while Jessica looks up the number of pages,
I'm doing this right now.
Jessica, for those of you not on video, Jessica looking up pages is exciting podcasting.
It is exciting. I have it right now.
Okay.
We're gonna. You keep going. I'm opening. I have to download it. So this is a process. It's the whole thing.
Oh my. All right. So we will start in the second rule, which of course says not to scheme and plot too much. Now, one thing the rule already said was you can't try to play the middle so much that both sides realize you're not picking a side and thus, could be against them. I have now added a brief mention of the flip side of this, noting you can't choose a side so staunchly that you are pushing for a particular person to the point that it draws unwanted attention. So, for example, we saw this from Natalie in Winners at War and then Abraham last season, and both went out right away. Though, I mean, we know there were other reasons for Abraham as well, but him deciding, I want Tiffany out, and that was the only thing he was going to focus on, to the point of making up stuff that didn't happen on one of the challenges. It didn't make sense.
Okay, I can give you a word count right now.
A word? Well, I didn't ask for a word count.
I know, but I can give you a word count.
Okay, give us a word count.
15,711 words.
And that's the old version. So there's probably like a little bit more.
There's more. The problem is it's just kind of, it's not breaking it down into pages, but I'll get you a page count, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
That will happen.
Yes.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yes.
I do agree with the rule change because of the new era of Survivor that we find ourselves in.
Well, I mean, I don't. The era seems to be pick someone. It's interesting because you do want to try to point the blame somewhere else. But you can't. You got to read the room like so much else. You can't just come in. I mean, like Abraham is a perfect example.
Right.
As soon as they arrived at camp, Tiffany.
Right. But that's why I feel like there's also pressure that's been added to season 41 and also season 42, because I think pregame conversations made everybody feel as if got to go fast, right? Because it's only 26 days. And I don't know if that got into some people's heads a little too much.
I mean, the thing is, the first vote took place after 3 days, just like a normal.
Right. But I don't know if they knew that that's what was going to happen. Yeah. And then that's the concern, I think, for this season as well, is they know it's 26 days, but they have no idea. And in their interviews, a lot of them are trying to guess, how are they going to do this? How are they going to cram everything in?
Yeah. So, I mean, but the other thing is, it's good for the producers. The producers, as we know, have always been like big moves, because it's good for TV. It's terrible for your game, but it's good for TV. So getting them to accelerate, also good for TV.
For sure.
So, all right, moving to the fourth rule, which says not to let your emotions control you. There's already language saying it's not enough to know that you need to limit the impact of your emotions to play the game. You need to be able to execute in the game with real people. So you can't just go in and say, I know I'm not going to let my emotions control me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put yourself there. These are real people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I added mention of two of our favorite people from last season and how this rule came into play for both of them. Specifically, Voce went in, knowing this rule, of course, and thought about it when he was considering voting out Tiffany. He told us this in his interview where he was like, I like Tiffany, but no, I gotta, put my emotions aside. Unfortunately for him, Tiffany at the time was unaware of this specific rule, but she did know. She didn't know it by rule number, but she knew she couldn't let her emotions or her friendship get in the way. So she wanted to get rid of Voce, especially once she heard that, he had mentioned her name, although he still, is like, yeah, well, who else's name was I going to mention? You were the only one that wasn't there. But, and so you had these two competing people, both of whom put aside their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the Women's Alliance was in control at the time. So Voce, unfortunately, didn't have a lot of time to show off the rest of his knowledge of these rules.
I know. He's not a real good, salesperson for us, right?
Yeah, you just, it's, we'll still take him.
Oh my God. Absolutely. Yeah. It would have been so amazing to be like, this guy is so well studied.
Yes. Well,
and look at how amazing he did. And instead, Tiffany.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
See, this is why I say it that way, Tiffany.
But this is a great example of why the rules are a great guide, but at the same time, everyone is there to play their own game. And so it can certainly negatively affect the game that you want to play because you don't know what everyone else is going to be doing. And so that I do think is something that people need to be mindful of. These are a great guide, but they're a guide within a game of a lot of people playing different components.
Right. And there are things that are outside of your control,
and,
like Evie being gone for so long and having no chance to, catch back up again or, whatever. Totally outside his control.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, more on this point. There was someone else on that tribe, Liana, who wrote a love letter to Survivor after the show was over. And part of it discusses the emotion in the game. She said, every player in the game has struggled with the balance between emotion and strategy. Few go into the game telling themselves to trust everyone and reveal all their secrets. Nonetheless, we are human and the game happens. We are starving and hungry and aqua dumping, and sometimes we forget that the cutthroat nature of this amazing game has no room for values or emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we bring all of this with us. Some of us are better at cutting it off than others, but the best players struggle with it. It's the beauty of being human in an unforgiving game.
Yeah.
And I mean, that whole section that she wrote was both true and completely pertinent to this rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I added it in there.
Perfect.
You know, everyone in Survivor struggles. Our point is, if you play it as a game and you set your emotions aside when you're making your strategic decisions, you're more likely to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do it well. As Liana noted, not everybody wants to do it well when they are presented with the choice. And that's all part of Survivor.
Sure.
The last change that I'll talk about is in Rule 7, which covers idols, advantages, game mechanics. And after Survivor 41, I, of course, had to add a discussion of beware advantages and how to handle the risk and reward inherent in those. Though, of course, players in 42 won't have had the knowledge of all the goat and butterfly silliness until one of them has to make an announcement about being a potato. So, it's just reward and how you judge that. And is it better to, get the beware advantage, even knowing that you're going to suffer some consequence? And I think the answer is often yes.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, those were the main changes. But of course, all the rules come in a much shorter than 15,000 word form.
711 words.
And it's also much more colorful, which is, of course, poster form. There it is.
Ta-da!
Damn.
Yes.
Okay. Just go to robhasawebsite.com, YX Lost feed that I mentioned. Scroll down to the poster and click on it. And so there is that.
Easy to do.
Yeah. So just there you go. Boom.
Mm-hmm. It's so lovely.
Yes. Now,
Eric did a great job.
Yes. It's funny because I was, as I always do, I was rereading the rules, and there's one part of it where it's like, oh my gosh, Eric, how could you do this? Why did you do this? And so I did add a note in there, like, by the way, we love Eric, and he did. We do love Eric, but he's still really screwed up over here. Yeah. So in addition to the poster itself, we have other ways to get the rules, so you can always have them with you, and that is in t-shirt and mug and sweatshirt form. So you've got the t-shirt there, that you've got a sweatshirt for the poster here, and then you have the checklist t-shirt on or there,
sweatshirt. I'm wearing the sweatshirt
the sweatshirt that she is wearing, and of course the mug.
There's so many options.
Right.
Go shopping.
Yes, go shopping and buy whatever you want.
Yes.
So with that, I would say it is time to get to know the new players on the Taku tribe.
So many things to say.
Yes. Once again, a reminder that we're basing our discussion off a relatively small amount of information.
Yes.
So it is slightly possible that we could be wrong. Slightly. As Taylor said in your season, unlikely, but it is possible.
Possible.
Yes.
Absolutely possible.
Yes. All right. I believe once again we start with you.
Wait, what? No, listen, before we get to the people, all right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is what I need to do. And I'm Taku.
Yes.
We're doing first names, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Behind the scenes. I have Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay doesn't come first. Lindsay comes.
I'm seriously. Okay. I'm like, did I forget the alphabet?
Okay, well, apparently I forgot the alphabet.
Oh, okay. That was not because I'm
sorry.
Like, the tweets are going to be terrible about Jessica doesn't know the alphabet.
No, it's David who doesn't know the alphabet.
Okay, before you start though.
Okay.
I do need to reference something, okay? I wanted to flip it, but this is not going to work. But I'm going to try to show this from my phone, all right? Can we just talk about the clothing, all right? Now, listen, as a Survivor player, I understand that there's a whole process and procedure that is undergone when it comes to, or under, whatever the word would be. it takes place, right, as to what the players are going to wear.
Mhm.
But really, like, who dressed these people?
It's a terrible thing to say.
I'm serious. Like, this is a beautiful group of people, and they look like, I mean, she has like a fuzzy, like, this is like a winter hat, like a fuzzy, she's this over here, like it's a cheetah print, like fuzzy hat, like she's wearing that on an island. They're all wearing like the crazy. I looked at this and I was like, can we get away from the all these colors, like the color scheme? Like, let's just stop that. Can we just put them in like regular clothes instead
Well, that's
of like,
probably what happened, because remember, Tiffany told us. Now, admittedly, she was in a rush, but she had to run out and buy clothes of a certain color.
and that's what they did to me as well. And I was frustrated, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I am going to do my damnedest to try to find clothes that is clothes one I would wear, but also like regular type clothes. And I'm sure that this is clothes that they wear, but I'm also sure that they put together weird shit, honestly, that
Mhm.
like
Great.
someone might have been
Now
like,
we're going to hear from offended players being like, there she was criticizing my clothing.
oh, I'm not criticizing them because I know they did not choose all of this. Like, they might have sent it to go, oh, you know what? Here's a nice little thing that like I have in my closet. But then they're like, oh, but we're gonna throw all of these other things with it that like I can't get over it. I'm like, this is not island attire, but that's not their fault. This is what they're told to send clothes, they send clothes. Like, I just want to go back to old school. Like, I always think about Australian Survivor and how they were dressed for Australian Survivor. Everybody
Australian Survivor or Survivor Australia?
Survivor Australia, excuse
Okay.
me. So we go back in time to season 2.
Mhm.
Everyone had jackets and backpacks and like regular clothes that you could wear out on an island. I don't know, call me crazy. But now it's like they end up looking so costumey, and I just can't. I was like, really? But
Well,
whatever.
the reason I ask is because in Australian Survivor, a lot of people have noticed that they have many changes of clothes. Like,
yes,
you'll be like 3 weeks in, and somebody will be wearing a new outfit. You're like,
Oh,
where'd you get
oh,
that?
I
Oh, it's in my
noticed.
closet. You
yeah.
know.
One player had like the whole new pink, like
Yeah.
suit, and he was all excited to wear it because he thought he was going to go home. And I'm like, how does he have like stored clothes anywhere?
They have.
We did not
yeah.
have that. But I just want to say, like, I'm not hating on the clothes. Like, it would be fine clothes, not for Survivor. Like, what are we doing? Why are we dressing everybody in this clothes? But whatever. I always think about how cold it's going to be and how uncomfortable people are going to be. And I'm looking at this clothes going, this is not conducive to the living on an island component. But
Maybe all of them were doing what Tori was doing, wearing oversized, bulky clothing to hide who they really were.
Oh, I know. Maryanne is going to be cold as all get out. She's going to be so cold. She's going to need to borrow Lindsay's jacket because she's going to be freezing.
Lindsay, can I have your jacket, Lindsay?
Exactly. It's going to be a thing. Like,
the other thing is, remember, what they wear in the press pictures is not necessarily what they wear on the island. Remember, Debbie's.
This is them on the island. Like, this is hi, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. We're meeting you right now.
Yeah,
and I'm going to wear my fuzzy winter hat.
Well, you just said they were going to be cold. You can't have it both ways.
No, but okay. Really? Do you see this hat? Do you see this?
I think it is a lovely hat.
It is lovely, but are you going to wear that on an island in Fiji?
I mean, it probably wouldn't look as good on me.
That girl's got some great hair, too. Oh, my word. All right, we're going to get there.
See, she was trying to hide her hair.
Why don't we start, I don't know, with Jackson, maybe?
Alphabetically?
Yeah, this is crazy.
That is crazy. I don't know when J started coming before L. I don't know how that happened.
I was so confused.
I know. For a minute, I was like, oh, my gosh. Did I tell her the wrong tribe? Are we doing the wrong group? Are we going to have to stop the podcast here? Are we?
Oh, my gosh. Goodness. No, that was not on me, ladies and gentlemen. Not on me. I have Jackson first in my pile.
Yeah. All right. So Jackson is a 48-year-old healthcare worker from Texas, which any healthcare worker must have been rough over the past couple years.
Oh, yeah.
He's also a transgender man who transitioned just 8 years ago. which he said was especially difficult being later in life and coming from a Southern Baptist home. So, yeah, it's been a rough few years overall, I would imagine.
Yeah, and
Um,
but he did say that it's made him stronger, and he's
right.
in a much better position now than had he played 10 years ago when he
I
initially
mean,
applied.
he is who he is, so I'm sure that
Exactly.
makes it. Now, some of the good things that Jackson said was that, well, one, he identifies most with our good friend Adam Klein. Second player so
Yay!
far with Adam Klein.
I was so excited when I read that.
Yeah.
And he talked so much about millennials versus Gen X. I was like, thank you.
Oh,
Love
I
it.
didn't take any notes on that. I figured that season
Mm-hmm.
it's been overdone. Um, so another one, yes, another player who watched you, and now you're going to be watching them.
I know. It's so exciting.
Yeah. He also loves Suri. So
Yes.
obviously can't argue with that choice either.
Mm-mm.
And he's not the only one in this group that loves Suri.
There seem to be some very repetitive themes throughout as to who the players are that they want to emulate or that they like. I thought it was very
I
interesting
mean,
to
who
see
doesn't
some of
love
the names.
Suri?
Well, I know she's like a given, but there's been a couple like Lauren Beck has come up with so many
Yeah.
of the players, and I was like, wow. And we even had, we've had so. We'll get there. We'll get
Okay.
there.
All
I'm
right.
jumping ahead, which
Oh,
we're not supposed to do.
you're not supposed to. Yes. Now you know that I love the fact he specifically said in his parade interview, I don't rush to make a big move quickly. I read that as a big move quickly. Now, yes,
It sounds like that in your head.
yes, every time. And it's capitalized automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to observe, see how people are acting, and be likable, all of which are obviously potentially winning moves. I do worry a little because he says he'll serve as the fly on the wall in the first few days at camp. And I just hope being the observer doesn't set him apart from the social aspect.
Well, but I'm curious if he's going to be able to really pull that off. It is a very hard thing to do. That was something that I did when we were first out on the island, and production was like, "What are you doing? Like, why don't you go?" And I'm like, I'm kind of paying attention. I'm just kind of watching." But if you can pull it off, that's great. But he also seems to have a big personality. And so I don't know if he's going to really be able to do that. When you describe yourself as I'm really likable, but then I want to observe kind of in the background, I don't know if that's going to be an easy balancing act for him to do. I hope it is, because I agree with that kind of watch and see, and don't make yourself really well known immediately and noticed right away. But I don't know if he's going to be able to avoid that because of his personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he is worried that he'll be seen as a little weak early. But I have to admit to a little confusion because he does puzzles and weightlifting, both of which could be promising in challenges. I mean, he knows himself better than I do just from reading, a few clips here,
Right.
but I didn't understand why he was worried about that.
Yeah, well, we also know that this is just one of those games where you look at someone's physical appearance and might pass judgment on them. And he might have said that when he was after looking at Jonathan for more than 5 minutes. He went, I don't know, maybe if I'm just saying, I don't know, because we're gonna get to Jonathan, but oh my, if I was there going, boy, I gotta go up against Jonathan, I might have a little bit of a complex.
Yeah,
at that point,
yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, okay.
Know,
Good point. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also have to comment on him wanting Abraham Lincoln to be his celebrity to come out for a loved one visit, because I live in Lincoln's hometown. So if Jackson wants to know anything about Abe, just give me a ring. Give me a ring.
I love that choice.
Come visit. I'll take you on a tour to Lincoln's home, Lincoln's tomb, Lincoln's law office.
Jackson, look at this.
So
I've never even gotten that invite, Jackson. So I'm just saying.
You were invited here. I guarantee.
Yeah, but not to go tour all of things Abraham Lincoln.
Well, it's implied when you come to Springfield. Like,
all right.
When we first moved here, I can't tell you the number of times. I mean, I literally could give the talk at Lincoln's home because
Really?
because we had family visit and
Mhm.
everybody would want to go there. And so, yeah, I would just give the talk. It was,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I find that to be a fascinating choice. Out of all of the people
Yeah.
that you can choose, that he chose Abraham Lincoln. Like, I really find that incredibly fascinating because he clearly must love history and just it's not something that you hear people say very
Right.
often. I mean, I don't.
Well, I
It's
do,
just-
but yeah.
Well, you do. Very telling indeed.
Yes. All right. Well, next, another J, which still comes before L.
That's right, it
Yeah.
does. Isn't this
Yeah.
amazing? We're
I know.
learning the alphabet
Yes,
today, ladies and
yes.
gentlemen.
Can you tell me how to
I
get
was
to?
just like, this is Sesame Street.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Survivor Street. All right. Jonathan is a 29-year-old beach service company owner from Alabama. Now, might as well just jump right into the biggest of all red flags. Jonathan.
His abs?
No. Jonathan wants to play like Ozzy and Joe.
I knew that. I was like, this is going to be amazing when we start talking about Ozzy because I know how you feel about Ozzy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ozzy's a nice enough guy.
Right.
You just don't want to model your Survivor game after him.
Well, listen.
And there's a reason both of those two guys never won. We've discussed a lot of them in detail. Joe, well, you don't want to model anything about yourself after Joe, Survivor, or especially outside of Survivor, as it turns out. But
Ozzy outside of Survivor?
I mean, he's a nice enough guy. What he chooses to do. And
I'm just saying, Bloomberg, you've kind of like put a line in the sand. Like,
oh, there is a big line in the sand between the two of them. Yeah.
Shout out to Ozzy's Twitter if anyone's curious.
Well, not just his Twitter, his OnlyFans.
But Twitter's much easier because you can just literally look it up on Twitter and see it in 2 seconds. You don't have to become a member of OnlyFans. Anyway, moving
on. Yes. Now, for the person that he most identifies with as a winner, he picked Boston Rob because of his bluntness. Yeah. Here's the thing. That worked for him one time when he was a returning player on a tribe full of people worshiping and afraid of him.
Yeah.
Jonathan, that's not going to work for you. You try that with these new players, and they're going to vote your abs right out.
Yes.
So yes, we will let's address the abs in the room.
Oh, can we please? Because I might have another photo.
Oh, good. Well, let me describe it first, and then you can show it because his six-pack has a six-pack.
There we are, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
There it is.
He even just holds it right out there. He holds his arm out like, look at me.
His arms are like trees. Look at this. Like, those are, this is massive. Like,
so wait, they're like broccoli? They're like broccoli?
No, like, those massive. I know he's certainly not a potato. I will say that. But here's what I find fascinating about that guy that we just looked at, right? Actually said, if I can downplay my strength, I'm sorry, you best not take off your shirt then, even though one of your pet peeves is having to wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Because all people have to do is look at you. There's no downplaying that at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is a tattoo. It's not
my
real.
arm is as big as my thigh. No. Don't notice that means nothing.
He
really.
broke the world record for most pull-ups with 100 pounds on his back.
I know. I'm like fascinated by this guy, and I want him to read me a book because his voice is like he could just put he could just.
I thought you were suggesting he couldn't read a book.
No. Like he could just lull you into like this relaxation. Like he just has that kind of voice. So listening to him on the podcast, I was like, God damn, he should really like read like relaxation novels to people and put them to sleep.
See, I don't catch those things because I listen at 3x. So everybody sounds the same. And it's about like this. Blah, blah, blah. So
how did you even understand Maryanne?
Oh, Maryanne was fine.
Oh, because she started going at some point. I was like, wow, she talks fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Ab Man, Jonathan.
Ab man. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na, ab man.
I'm telling you, this is. Oh, and listen, there are so many things about Jonathan that I do love. Not to mention,
That ab, that ab, that ab.
aside from those abs, his favorite Survivor episode just happened to be My Demise, the rock draw.
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that?
You missed that?
How the heck
Yes.
did I miss that?
He loved that. That was his, like, that moment, because it was chaotic, because he wants to bring chaos. And so that moment, he was like, it was pure chaos. It was great. I loved it. And I was like, you damn it. That was My Demise. But at least he's talking about my season again. So that's great.
True. That's
Yeah.
true. So yeah, also his one of his favorite hobbies, spearfishing. So I'm hoping, I'm sure he's
Amazing.
hoping to win gear for that.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to remember this game is not all about challenges, and I don't think he will remember that. Although, like you said, he wants to cause chaos. He said post-merge, he wants to cause every bit of trouble he can think of if it'll get him further in the game. But here's the thing. Causing trouble doesn't usually help someone's game. Yes,
Yeah.
we've heard chaos is a ladder. Fine. But chaos isn't a ladder post-merge when you're built like that.
I know. Well, and I do think that he is a very similar vibe to Ken and what I know of Ken just being out in the island, where Ken didn't want to create chaos. So that's a little separate. But there was this desire to take care of the camp and to help the people in camp and to feed the camp. And
Yeah.
Jonathan really seems to have that same exact type of vibe, where he does want to be able to provide and he wants to lead. But then there's this other side of him that he's also like, but I want to wreak havoc at the same time. So I find that to be curious, because he wants to do both. It's like, I'm going to be your mom and take care of you, but I'm going to hide your socks at the same time, so I'm going to make you work for it. Maybe I'm not sure, but I'm interested to see how he manages to pull that off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his outcome will be similar to, his game outcome will be similar to that of Ozzy and Joe. We hope his regular outcome won't be anything similar to Joe. And it's up to him if he wants it to be like Ozzy. He'll
Listen.
He'll probably make it to the merge or close to it, and then he'll be seen as too much of a threat, or he'll be seen scheming and plotting too much, and he's gone.
Well, and that's going to be the interesting thing about Jonathan is, if everyone is anticipating that the game is going to move quickly, are they going to be concerned about individual immunity challenges at the beginning and want to try to eliminate him prior to the merge, because he looks like he does, and he's probably incredibly strong.
No, he's going to downplay that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He'll leave his shirt on.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's not a thing.
I mean, I don't know that he'll leave his shirt on, that, because, he hates
Well, how is he going to downplay it then? He's going to hide under the sand?
He'll bury himself in the sand. He'll only talk to you neck deep in the water.
I'm fascinated. And I have to give him one more shout out. There's so many fun things about Jonathan. He mentioned that he can sing an amazing rendition of The Little Mermaid's Part of Your World. I love The Little Mermaid. It is my favorite Disney movie. So I might be able to hold my own on that one as well, Jonathan.
All right.
So
we'll have to have a duet later.
Although that's not my favorite one from Little Mermaid, but it's one of the top.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me weigh in on. No, I got nothing.
All right. Is it my turn now?
I don't know.
Following the alphabet?
Apparently asking me the alphabet is
I know.
Now
all right. Now we're going to move on to L's children. That's going to come after J, and we're going to talk about Lindsay. So I want you to meet the woman who believes this game is her. Competitive, athletic, social, strategic, manipulative. This is Lindsay. This is how she describes herself. And she also describes herself as talkative, which, Lindsay, I want you to meet Maryanne. We're going to get to her in a little bit, because they both describe themselves as such. But Lindsay is like a whirlwind of a person, I've decided, just reading through her accomplishments, things that she's done. She's very strong in herself and what she feels about herself, what she's been able to accomplish in her life. And what I love is she is very certain that she is going to just kill it in this game. So it's like, are we going to have like that incredible demise? Like, is it just going to be that rise and fall moment? I don't know. But she says, I can definitely outwit everyone since I am very familiar with dealing with different types of people and have always had a strategic mind. I can read people very well, and I'm very good at persuading others. Plus, let's be real, people are stupid.
Yes. Okay.
And when
so
people are hungry, hang on,
Yes,
they
okay.
forget how to stay composed. Once you see the cracks, it gets easier to outwit. I can outplay everyone because I'm very competitive and athletic, and I should be on the top of all the competitors and challenges. I mean, she is like, I got this.
Yes. No, we should also let people know she's a 31-year-old dietitian from New Jersey.
Christ, I was going to get there. All
Well,
right.
no, I just wanted to make sure. But
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I jumping around?
yes, you were out of
not
order.
Following the rules.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, I do like the part about people being stupid. But I don't know that that's necessarily true for a majority of Survivor players. Certainly
That's
some
fair.
of them.
Yeah, that's
Certainly
fair.
some of them. And I do have a revelation for everyone here. Okay, so everybody get ready. Survivor Deep Throat, my source, tells me, remember the person that Tiffany replaced?
Oh,
That was Lindsay.
It was Lindsay.
It was Lindsay.
Interesting.
So
if that's any barometer of what we're gonna get, I'm liking Lindsay even.
Well,
more.
I mean, it is actually one thing that I said is loud, talkative, intense, and does not mesh with everyone. Does kind of remind me of the person who replaced her.
Right, a certain someone that we know.
Yeah,
I love that.
But I also think all of these players were eager. A lot of them had been cast and then told, nope, hold off.
Yeah, right.
She, I think, is probably more eager than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because she was ready to go and then couldn't. And then had to wait longer.
Right. At that moment, like right before she was supposed to be there. That has to be the most crushing experience to make it so far, to be like, here's my ticket, like I'm going, and then wah wah. Yeah, that's terrible. So no wonder she is so eager. She has had a lot of time to think about this and prepare and plan. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch her out there because she does really present as so like, I got this and I'm going in there full throttle. And I'm fascinated. I'm very fascinated with her personality and what she's going to do with it. I mean, she wants people to perceive her as someone outgoing and positive. And this is something we talked about with the last group where some of the perceptions they were hoping people had of them, we were scratching our heads. I think she's someone who understands herself very well. So she knows how people will likely perceive her. And so that's what she's hoping that they see. And the rest of it, she doesn't want them to see, which I think is great. She's like, don't look at me like I'm strategic and manipulative and a competitor. No. I'm outgoing. And, so I just think that'll be good for her. Yeah. I'm definitely intrigued to see how much she's going to lean into that. And she's also very interested in finding, and I find this not just with her, but it seems to be kind of a resonating theme, this idea of having an honest alliance partner. Like so many of them have made reference to this. And again, everyone's lying to you on Survivor. So I hope you find someone who feels the same, because there does seem to be so many people that are like, I hope I find an honest alliance partner who tells me exactly what's going on. I hope y'all meet up, because that's going to be.
Except half of them didn't say they would be honest.
Right.
They just want to find an honest person.
So this is what I find fascinating about it. It's like, I don't want you to lie to me, but I'm going to lie to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't know it. So that's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And the last thing I just want to mention about her, which I, again, found a strange connection back to myself here. So she talked about The Office and how she's a huge fan of The Office, and that Michael Scott could be her, or Steve Carell, if I'm going to say the actual name of the actor, could come out and be her visitor. But she loves everyone from The Office. So here's my weird Office connection to Survivor story. When I was in LA for the finale, we went out to a bar and we were hanging out, and just so happened that the actor who played Kevin Malone was in the bar. Brian Baumgardner, if I'm saying his name correctly. But now this was like dinner, drinking. It was like a mixed kind of bar. So my daughter was there as well, and she was younger at the time, but she was a huge Office fan. We did not know he was like basically 15 feet away from us until after. Like, she and I went to the bathroom and he left, and then Brett was like, "Hey, guess who you guys just missed?" And we're like, "What?" So needless to say, there's my little connection to the Office.
That's like me and Dalton Ross. Whenever we're in the same place at the same time, I don't know he's there. And then I find out afterwards. Yep. And it's like, wait, Dalton was here? I wanted to say hi to him. What do you mean he was here? Yeah, he's gone now. What?
Yeah, it's crazy when that stuff happens. But
now, one thing that Lindsay said that confused me, and this is why I had to make sure to bring up the dietitian thing, is she said she counsels people and believes her skills of convincing others to take risks will carry over. She's a dietitian.
Maybe they're eating bugs.
I don't see that as encouraging people to take risks. It seems like it should involve getting people to avoid risks.
I see that. That makes sense.
So I don't know exactly what she was thinking there. Maybe it's a risk you won't like your new diet, but it'll be healthier for you. If we're putting as positive a spin on it as possible.
Right, because if you think about someone who never wants to eat a certain type, like maybe spinach or, I don't know, broccoli, like little trees, and having to convince people, or a potato, that maybe they should eat something that's better for them. And they're like, no, I want a greasy cheeseburger and I only eat potatoes if they're fried. So maybe she's trying to convince them that, like, no, listen, you have to do this for yourself. Because sometimes like those like healthy nutritional supplements and beverages, they might not taste great, but they're really, really good for you. So I don't know. Maybe that's what she's talking about.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think all three of yours are in a row here, the way things work.
Oh, yeah, because now we're moving on to M.
That's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to break it up for you. That was all part of my plan.
Oh, is that what it wasn't that you just screwed up on the alphabet?
No, that couldn't have possibly been it.
Now, here's my question, since we're talking about the alphabet, because we have Marya, if I'm saying her name correctly, and then Maryanne. So I'm going to start with Marya.
Yes, I believe. So I believe when you're doing something alphabetically, the shorter one comes first if it's the identical letters.
Because you're really up on the alphabet.
Well, I studied those two to figure out which should go first, and then just blew the easy ones,
It's amazing.
Haven't you ever had that happen on a test?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You get the hard ones, but you miss the easy ones.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So Myra is a self-described.
Marya.
Oh, Marya.
You just said it right.
I know. And then but I'm looking at it. It doesn't, in my brain, doesn't compute to Marya. Yeah. But Marya is a self-described softy yet spicy, dancing down the aisles, stay-at-home mom. She is 47 and she currently lives in Michigan. So she's an interesting mix.
Michigan or Indiana?
Oh, her hometown was Michigan. Her current residence is Indiana.
And the only reason I say that, otherwise I wouldn't have even known, is because she's like 3.5 hours straight east of me.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so I probably drive right by her when I go to visit my kids.
Maybe you can go hang out with her too.
Yeah, we'll have a party.
You can go see Abraham Lincoln things together.
That's right. Well, she'd have to come here with Jackson.
Yeah. Right, bring Jackson. It'll be a whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Zach can come up from St. Louis, on a weekend when he's not studying too much.
Exactly. Her pet peeve: when someone has a big old snuffleupagus sneeze and doesn't cover their nose.
I mean, that's particularly appropriate right now.
Well, right, but
anytime I would say that.
Right, but she referenced snuffleupagus, for God's sakes. I got to get Sesame Street. Do you see
She predicted this podcast.
It's all coming back around. I love it. Her hero, I thought, was really fascinating, is her brother, Kius, if I'm saying it correctly, Kelly.
I did not write down his name, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so he was the first nurse in New York to die of COVID-19. So she's clearly been through a very emotional time, but the way she describes it is that actually is helping her with this process. It's giving her more strength to move forward because she's using him as inspiration. When I talk about dancing down the aisles, she's talking about her family members as well. So it sounds like she's very in tune with her family and very in tune with the strength that they will provide to her. Mm-hmm. So I do think that that's going to be an interesting dynamic compared to someone like Lindsay, Lindsay is very much like work and all these things I've done. And Marya is more like homebody, love my family, love my life. She sounds to me like she's going to be more of kind of on an even keel, more centered and calm when she's out there. And so that'll be an interesting mix to see she and someone like Lindsay coming together, whether or not they're going to jive very well.
Yeah. Now, I worry that she will stand out as the oldest woman on the tribe, especially if they have to go to tribal council right away. I just think she's going to need to make some connections fast.
Yes, and this is why I have some concerns if she has that kind of calm nature about her. She says she's never been camping. She's very honest to a fault that she's probably not going to be seen as much of a threat, and she thinks that might work in her favor. But I also have a sneaking suspicion that this tribe is probably not going to tribal council right away because Jonathan. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Maybe they'll...
I mean, he might choose to do the puzzle to try to downplay his strength.
Oh, there you go. That might be it.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah. Now, if Marya does make it longer into the game, I like that she has realistic thoughts about allies and understands it's a game and things can change, and she also said, because there's so many times people will be like, oh, I'm your ally. How could you ever turn on me? How could you ever do that? And then they'll hold it against them forever. It's like, no, you got to move past it. And that's what she's saying here.
Which I think is fascinating considering the way she presents herself, and I'm wondering if it's more that because she is so like centered that she isn't going to let that get to her. She's a realization this is a game and she understands the nuances of it, but she isn't going to let the competitiveness take over. There's this understanding of, which I find fascinating because she seems like she'll be very flexible and she'll be very understanding. But again, will it be understanding to a fault? If someone hurts her, is she going to be like, no, that's okay. It's fine. I don't know. It'll be very, very interesting to see her out in the island in this type of mix.
Yeah. And I mean, she said her greatest asset is her emotional intelligence and ability to accurately read people. I do like that she said accurately, because a lot of times people say my ability to read people. So I'm glad that she put in accurately. But like I said, I think that will be tested early. In terms of, if you do go to tribal council, a little worried about you.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
I also do think if she makes it to the end, she seems to have a bit of a misconception about what to argue in front of the jury in terms of Appendix B. She said, my game will be easy to argue at Final 3. Well, first of all, almost no game is easy to argue.
Right.
But, I believe being likable and smart/savvy pays off in the end and secures the vote.
You don't want to know what I wrote underneath that.
Okay, I do want to know what you wrote underneath that.
I wrote WTF.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's true that being likable being likable pays off, but you also need to explain what you did to get there. So just saying my game will be easy to argue, obviously it has both of us like.
Well, and that's why, like, I circled it, I highlighted it. I was like,
wow, look at you go.
I know. I was like, wait, what are you even saying there? It's like, I'm going to say an answer to say something, but it's not going to actually say anything at all. I don't know. But again.
Yeah. I mean, she wants to have fun playing Survivor, and I hope she gets the chance to have fun. I don't see her as winning. I'm worried she'll be out first from her tribe, but I hope she gets to stick around at least a little while.
She has the best hair. But she has a strange hat for an island. Can't get past the hat.
Maybe it's all the rage in Indiana.
Oh, maybe it really is. But she really has the best hair. It's great. And I will just add this too, since I'm kvetching right now. All of these photos, these lovely, beautiful photos that we have of the the Survivor people, like, I'm so jealous. My
this
dirty, corn eating.
At least you're
big-
not Lucy.
Oh my God. They were terrible. What did they do to us? Like all of they have these, and there's options. These are not the only photos of these people. They have all these beautiful, like they're standing, their hands on their hips. We have one like this. All of these options, these headshots are beautiful. Me, I'm like eating dirty corn.
Again, you're not Lucy. I mean,
I
Lucy
know.
had literally the worst photo ever. And someone in Survivor PR said, print it. That's the one.
I know, like who chose those? Who looked at that and said, yes, this is what we want for everyone? Oh, anyway, I'll stop kvetching. But you're beautiful, beautiful cast, and you have lovely photos. All right, so now we're going to move on to Maryanne, the weird kid with a story to tell, which will be told fast with lots of words because she likes to talk. And I don't know how you didn't like listening to her at 3 times speed. I don't know how you caught up with most of it because she just started going sometime. But she describes herself as energetic, empathetic, and chaotic. Kind of a crazy mix, right? But she's a seminary student, so there's got to be a little bit of like calmness there too. So again, she's like a fascinating individual, and she gets the cuteness points all across the board as far as I'm concerned, because she has such a genuine smile, and I just feel concerned for her just because I feel like she is so bubbly and she's so charismatic.
She wants to weaponize her bubbliness.
I know. And
I don't even know what that means, but I think it's hysterical.
It is hysterical. And I will say that I had someone years ago describe me as bubbly, smart, and intelligent. Like it was like, oh, like the bubbly component sometimes can work against you. And I've been cognizant of that ever since, that sometimes being bubbly is perceived as being not smart. And it can surprise people that you can be both. And so I hope that Maryanne is able to have that bubbly personality. But again, on Survivor, do you want to be perceived as smart? Probably not. It's probably better for you to not be perceived as super smart. So it might just work for her. I don't know if it will, but I will say that she also describes herself as a great listener, which will surprise people because she likes to talk. So the fact that she is aware of this component of her, and she is reminding herself that she has to do more listening than talking, I think will certainly bode well for her in trying to make those social connections and trying to get to know people. And if Lindsay's a talker and she's a talker, maybe it'll all work out lovely and they can have long, drawn-out conversations about all kinds of things. Her mother is her hero, which I love. I think that's beautiful. But she says that she will win Survivor. Why? Because she is a social person. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Like, this is a huge component of Survivor now, right? You have to know how to play the social game. And if that's what her desire is, I'm hoping that she does well with that and that she doesn't get all lost and caught up in this bubbly, charismatic nature. Instead, really tries to make those social connections with the people that are on her tribe.
Yeah, but she also said she wants to play like Sarah Lucina in terms of being friends, but stabbing people in the back.
Right.
And she thinks that people may perceive her as someone who may play a little more conservatively based on her faith, but she'll tarnish that perception. So, I mean, it's a good thing that players hadn't seen Shan before, because very similar in that regard. You know.
Well, and that's why I think she's going to be an interesting, she's very aware again of who she is and how she presents. And she doesn't want to be the person that they're expecting her to be. So maybe it will all work out for her and she'll be able to pull it off. But I don't know what her goal is. Is she going to tell people that she's in seminary school? I don't remember if she talked about that or not.
I don't know. I mean, I would think so. That I feel like it's just too much to, especially if she said someone is going to think she's going to play more conservatively because of her faith.
And that's true. That's true. That's very fair.
Yeah, I have no doubt that she'll be fun to watch. She'll fight to stick around. I don't see her as going early, but I also don't see her as winning. So final 6 or 7 is where I'm putting her.
Well, this is where we got the Vesepia recognition. So that was one of the ones I was thinking about earlier that she brought up, Vesepia, which is not someone that you see as a winner you want to emulate. So that I thought was fascinating. And also, I don't want her to be my lifeguard. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to put it out there. Put that in the universe.
Okay, why?
Well, because she said that she described this as like how dedicated she was. And don't get me wrong, super duper dedicated.
Mhm.
She wanted to get her lifeguarding certificate, and she would go through, and she just never made the time. And then she finally, like, she failed the timed portion of it over and over and over again. And then she finally, like, ended up passing and then got her certificate. So it's like, well, maybe she got, I mean, it's
You have
a
to
little
hope that
scary,
that's
right?
the time that, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, are you going to swim to me fast enough before I drown? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like someone who, fails a driving test 3 times, but then finally gets it. It's like, maybe we should just say no, at some point.
But she's dedicated. I got to
Yeah.
give her that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I could not pass the lifeguard test. You would drown. I'm sorry. If anyone is, you would definitely, I wouldn't get there in time. I started swimming before I went out to Survivor, forgot how hard that shit was. And really, like, I did it every other day. I would go back and I'd swim in the pool and try to get better. That is a workout. So kudos for her for pulling it off. But
Mhm.
yeah, maybe you just shouldn't be a lifeguard. I don't know. I'm just saying. So anyway, but yeah. So let's see, what else do I have about her? I already talked about needing to do more listening than talking. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with Maryanne and how she's going to kind of maintain her composure, considering she's got so many things kind of like working.
Yeah. All right. Well, I already gave my prediction, so for her. So we can move on to our final contestant, Omar.
Excellent.
He is a 31-year-old exotic animal veterinarian from Ontario.
I love that.
Yes. Now, this is another player who's been watching since the first season. And he said he listens to all the podcasts. He said all the podcasts.
All the podcasts.
All the podcasts. So hopefully that better include this one here.
All the podcasts.
He even wants to play like some guy named Rob Sesternino. Is that, am I saying that right? Yeah.
I think so. I think, yeah.
Plus, he was another one who mentioned Suri. He also mentioned Tyson Kim and Natalie Anderson, all worthy people. But he said he identifies most with Suri as the non-winner because she played such a good social game. So I'll be watching to see if he can pull off something like that. I actually think he might be able to.
Wait a second. You're not going to mention it?
I don't know which part.
Who else did he talk about? Oh, come on. Who does he think sucks?
Oh, yes, the Hanses.
No, and Ozzy. Come on.
Oh, he said Ozzy?
He gave you a golden nugget.
Oh, man, I missed it. No,
yes, I wrote that down and I highlighted that too. I'm like, he thinks Ozzy sucks.
I mean,
I don't think you suck, Ozzy. I'm just saying he thinks you suck. And, this guy over here.
Are we talking about his OnlyFans? Oh, but
terrible.
But
this is getting X-rated.
You said it, not me. But his I mean, Ozzy's strategic gameplay did, I think, I saw the Hans one and I laughed and I just kind of moved on. And so yeah.
Yeah, no, he talked about Ozzy too.
Okay. But anyway, he also said he's not just relying on his social game, and said, I'm not afraid to make moves. I'm not afraid to make alliances. I'm not afraid to lie, cheat, steal, whatever it may be in order to win. And so I'm hoping that I have this disguise, like a harmless bird, like a pigeon who's cute, voluptuous, nice, kind of dumb. But really, I want to play this game almost like a predatory bird, like an owl who hunts in the night, but you can't see or hear or see it coming until you're dead. Or Jeff is snuffing your torch.
Wait for it.
Yeah. Do you like my dramatic reading there?
I love it because it's you have brought up like two like movie references in my head as I'm listening to this, because I'm thinking of tweets I can put out into the universe with the
Uh-oh.
pigeon, and it's great. It's good stuff. Oh, snap. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good
Okay.
stuff. But I love
Okay.
the pigeon reference. I think the
Yeah.
pigeon is great.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like that he's thinking in these terms, and he does have kind of the perfect disguise. He does not look like the person you would expect to act that way necessarily.
Yeah, and I do think that he's like, again, very aware of himself, because he talks about how he wants people to perceive him as friendly, nice, goofy, a self-deprecating person, somebody who's maybe not thinking of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we see? We've seen a couple of players very recently do the same thing, like Xander. Now, granted, Xander didn't pull it off, but we were all like thinking this guy's going to be the Fabio, I guess, of the
Mm-hmm.
season. And it unfortunately didn't bode well for him, but we've seen it work. We've seen that non-threatening kind of person
Right.
get all the way to the end, because people don't realize they're actually strategizing, and that's part of their gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I do like how Omar set an equivalency between Darwin's theory of evolution and Jeff Probst saying they must adapt or they'll be voted out of the game. And, he notes that the fittest survive, but the fittest may not be the lion in every situation.
Mm-hmm. Considering he's talking about being a pigeon.
Yes. He could fly away from the lion.
Yeah.
So, another thing, one of Omar's favorite hobbies is Settlers of Catan, which is good. Very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, if you are indeed listening to this, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Okay. It's very important advice.
Free advice.
Yes. Don't play against Sophie's husband. He will beat you every time.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Good piece of advice.
Avoid him at all costs.
All right.
Now, the best advice besides that he received before coming out to play was similar to what I believe my family would tell me. Don't be annoying.
Yeah. Those bits of advice before you go out the island are great.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I think my advice to him would be pick a different character for your celebrity loved ones visit.
Oh, who was it?
Olaf from Frozen. Olaf is a snowman. Olaf is going to melt.
Yes, but
in the
how?
Fijian
No
sun.
one would. It would be good camouflage. He would melt right into the sand.
He'd be a puddle. He'd be dead. Olaf would die on the island in Fiji. But anyway.
I don't know what to tell you.
Olaf, granted, super fun. Think he's a great character. Probably not in Fiji, just saying, because that was part of the movie. Olaf started to melt because he was next to the fire and he was like, oh, it's so nice. And then he was melting. It's not okay. Listen, there's
rough.
a lot of Disney references being made today.
Yes, there certainly
Sesame
are.
Street, Disney. We're all over the place, from OnlyFans to Sesame Street. This is how this podcast.
Wow, that is
that's
a
hell
wide
of a range, right?
Yeah.
Get ready, people. Buckle in. This is where
the
we're
out of
at.
context account doesn't pick that one. I don't know what they're doing. Now, one thing I do have to say about Omar, he's afraid of condiments. So he might run away if Jeff gives him a reward with all the fixins. Omar would be like, no!
How are you afraid of condiments?
I don't know.
I'm a condiment girl. I have to take issue with that. I look for reasons to put condiments on things. Like hot sauce, number one favorite thing. You can never have enough hot sauce. So I'm like, what do I have in my house that I could put hot sauce on? I have like 10 different types of hot sauce upstairs because I'm like, gotta have variety, right? Yeah. So I'm a condiment supporter, not afraid of them at all.
I don't know that I've ever heard of anyone who's afraid of them before.
It's strange. I've met people that don't like mayonnaise because they don't like the way that it looks, but they're not afraid of it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But you learn things about people every day.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we're about done with this group. So let me remind everyone that the rules and the people, well, the people we discussed as it pertained to the rules. Anyway, the rules are available in poster and t-shirt and mug form and sweatshirt form.
And
Again,
everything form. So
and
many
everything
forms.
form.
We need
Again,
hats. Why don't we have
go
hats
to
yet?
it's hard to fit a poster on a hat.
No, why blank lost?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to Tricky.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, again, go to robhasawebsite.com/yxlostfeed, and you can just, like I said, scroll down through all of this. I also want to encourage everyone to check out the RHAP patron program at robhasawebsite.com/patron, or hey, guess where else you can do it? Right here when you scroll down. Hey, look, RHAP on Patreon.
It's perfect.
You can get access to all the special podcasts that are put out just for patrons, including a new Survivor one that Rob has been hinting at but hasn't announced yet. And when Rob isn't talking to everyone, there are Facebook groups and Discord to keep you occupied with a great community, including both of us.
Mhm.
You can talk about Survivor, Big Brother, Canadian Big Brother, which is on now, life in general. So you can support shows like ours and everything on the network by becoming a patron at robhasawebsite.com/patron, or again, just click right here on the YX Lost feed page.
Yes, you
And
can.
once you get to the Facebook groups, make sure to say hello.
You can also say hello to us on Twitter. I am at Jessica Lewis 89 and he is at David Bloomberg. You should definitely follow us both. You can get both sides of the story. Now that Survivor is about to begin, you will see that we both live tweet during the episodes, which is super exciting and fun, and lots of gifts are involved and funny little commentary. So again, I am at Jessica Lewis 89 and he is at David Bloomberg. And as you can see from Professor's screen, you have the ability to follow us both by utilizing the link. So we've made everything
right.
very, very easy for you, inclusive of the one and only David Bloomberg on TikTok.
Right. Now the Twitter, we had to put a link on because it's very hard to remember that David Bloomberg is at David Bloomberg.
Of course.
But TikTok, that underscore has to get shoved in there.
God damn
And
underscores.
So it's David underscore Bloomberg. And so, yeah, it's easy. Just go there and click on the link. But
Perfect.
yes, I have been posting about 2 TikToks per day lately. Today I did a Survivor rule flashback to something that Corinne said in Gabon. I also did last night, I guess technically, I did one celebrating the winners of the Amazing Race, who we will not say what they are because that would be a spoiler. There will be some Joe Millionaire for another couple of weeks, but yeah, and then of course there will be Survivor. And then it's not on the links here, but I'm also david.e.bloomberg on Instagram. If for some reason you don't have a TikTok account, you can follow me there.
I love how you said it. So, like, if you don't have a TikTok,
Yeah,
account,
I mean,
like,
really,
how do you
come
not
on.
have a TikTok?
I
account?
mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't have a TikTok account. Other than like me 6 months ago, but yeah.
I know. And look at you. You've just taken over.
I
love it.
Yeah, take it over. That's
Doing a good job. You should start dancing. I hear that really gets people.
I believe that's when I get disowned by my family.
I do love that your wife seems to fully support you and your TikTok.
I think
endeavors.
this is my wife's fully support. Whatever,
That's amazing.
Yeah. So also you should make sure you're subscribed to all the RHAP Survivor podcasts. Again, I turned off the page, but the YX Lost feed is right there. You can subscribe there to get the know-it-alls, the B&B, Taryn Armstrong's podcast, Shannon Gus's International. So yeah, you can get all of those.
Lots of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can I thank people now?
You can always thank people.
Excellent. Excellent. So we would like to thank Scott St. Pierre, who does all of the editing for not only Why Blank Lost, but all of the podcasts at RHAP. He does an incredible job. Thank you so much, Scott, for all of the work that you do. We know that you work very diligently and hard, so thank you for everything. And then also thank you to Will from America for creating our theme song here on Why Blank Lost. It's lovely and fabulous and very catchy. So thank you so much, Will.
Yes, yes. Also, thank you, Tricky, for the overlay there at the bottom.
Yes, it's very nice. I love this.
He puts together the artwork that shows up on the website with our podcast. So thanks.
There are so many people that do incredible work for RHAP. Like, I had no idea that any of this existed.
I was just introduced to another one today. You know, I don't know if she wants her name out there. So we'll let her stay behind the scenes for right now. But yeah, you know, there's just it takes a lot of people to run this operation.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And so we are very blessed to be involved in this community and be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Bloomberg wants to do it all the time. And I have a lot of stuff to do.
In like 3 months, I'll want to do even more.
I know. Listen, constantly the text messages like, I was thinking, how about this? Can we do? I'm like, oh my gosh. So we appreciate all of our support that we get from the listeners as well. You guys are all so great. And we really do appreciate so much the fact that you continue to come back and you retweet and you post and you comment. It's so much fun to hear people's responses. And listen, give this guy some guff on Twitter. It's okay.
Guff? No, love. You misspelled good love.
He doesn't know the alphabet.
Well, okay. There's that. A, B, C. But anyway, thank you, Jessica. Even with that, you know, the confused look on your face, that will make
I had such a moment. I was like,
that will make an amazing image when this
How did I screw this up?
Like, what's going wrong? So, and you know, the people who are just listening, you know, there was like several seconds of like dead silence. They're probably like, oh my gosh, did the podcast end?
I had a complex. I was like, I just screwed up the alphabet. I was looking at their names. Like, what did I do wrong? Yes. Like, who did I miss? Oh my goodness.
All right. So everyone, we will be back here in just a couple of days for part 3.
That's right.
And we will see everybody then. Bye.